This is the Out of Time Film Podcast, where your hosts Tom and John discuss everything from blockbuster films to TV and games like there's no tomorrow.
Hello and welcome to the Out of Time Film Podcast. My name is Tom, and as always, I'm joined with my co-host John.
Hey.
And this week we are talking about Wonka.
Yes. So, how long has it since you've seen the original musical? Or if you haven't seen the musical, Tom, have you seen the original musical for Charlie and the Chocolate Factory?
I have. So the original, I don't even know what year it was, but Gene Wilder, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I saw it when I was little, but it scared the absolute bejesus out of me.
Really?
I used to hate the film because, we'd get to the bit with Augustus Gloop and the Chocolate River and the boat, and I would just freak out and I couldn't watch it. So I can't in good
That is scary.
Yeah, I can't in good conscience tell you that I've watched the whole film, but I definitely used to see it. But actually, my favorite was always the Tim Burton one, the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory one from like 2008 or something. I really liked that one. But no, in terms of the musical, the actual one that I've seen was the stage play.
Oh,
Directed,
right, yeah.
the production that was on the West End. It was directed by Sam Mendes, director of 1917. And Skyfall, Spectre, loads of really great films. I saw that and it really is amazing. I remember being so wowed by that. But yeah, this is my first Wonka thing for a while.
The funny thing is that the Tim Burton one actually scared me.
Oh, yeah.
It was when, I forgot the name, who chews chewing gum all the time, and then she gets turned into this...
Violet Beauregarde.
Yes, her, Violet. And that moment in the Tim Burton one, I was like literally scared. And then the ride as well, when Willy Wonka gets everyone on this boat ride, and it was like, what is going on? This is like some like trippy, what is this?
I think what we're saying is that no matter which version you watch, you are going to be traumatized.
Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna be traumatized and be like, nope, I don't want to watch that. It's like the same case for me when I watched The Nightmare Before Christmas. That's
Oh wow, yeah. It's just
yeah.
Tim Burton films for you. You watch a Tim Burton film and you are just quaking in your boots.
I'm like shivering me timbers. I'm scared.
You're a pirate, apparently.
Yes. But anyway, we're not here to be talking about Tim Burton. We're going to be here talking about the director of this film, Paul King, who previously directed the Paddington films. I haven't seen Paddington 2, but I should see that.
Yeah.
I should
Wait,
watch
you
that.
haven't seen Paddington 2?
Yes. I'm so sorry, everybody. I can hear the screams right now. I can hear the screams like, what do you mean you haven't watched Paddington 2?
Yeah, I mean, Paddington 2 is fun. Don't worry, next year, before Paddington 3, we're going to do all 3 Paddington films on the podcast.
What a teaser. What a teaser right
there. I have this planned out a year in advance. I'm teasing everyone.
He is planning everything, listeners. He is the master planner of he will dedicate to what we watch and stuff. So yeah, without this podcast, we would not have this plan at all with this whole thing, what we're going to talk about. But here we are. Here's Wonka. So should we get into it?
Absolutely. First of all, I know I said we'd be doing Rebel Moon, but Wonka was just so magical that we couldn't not talk about it. I was really spellbound by this film, considering we'll talk a little bit about the marketing and all the stuff that we found before the film.
Yes.
But this came as a real surprise to me. So, full spoilers ahead for anyone who hasn't seen it. Wonka, briefly explain the plot for those who don't know.
All right. Armed with nothing but a hat full of dreams, young chocolatier Willy Wonka manages to change the world, one delectable bite at a time. This might be the best explaining the plot. I have to say it. This is the best one because that is short and sweet.
It even got a reference to one of the songs in there. He's got 12 silver sovereigns in his pocket and a hat full of dreams. I've been playing the soundtrack to this film.
It's so good.
Again and again. It's fantastic.
This is the most enjoyable film that I had this year, and it had a lot of emotional weight. The emotional beats in the film are just so fantastic. You just felt directly pulled in, with Willy Wonka's life and all the dreams that he has, and it was so funny. This might be the funniest film I've seen this year.
Yeah, I mean, recently we talked about the Marvels and the musical sequences in that film and how disappointing it was, but this delivered on that need for music whimsical content on screen. I feel like, love him or hate him, Roald Dahl, his stories are just pure magic. We talked about Wes Anderson's Roald Dahl shorts earlier in the year. Just utterly powerful stories. And last year, we didn't do this in the podcast, but last year was Matilda the musical, which is incredible. A really, really fantastic film. That's on Netflix, and I really implore everyone to watch it. But there is just something that just, this scratches all of the itches for a musical fan, for somebody who wants something whimsical in the holidays. This brought all of that in the most, it felt just nostalgic. And I don't even know why, because I'm not even a huge fan of the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, but still, it really just got me.
Yeah, it just pulled me in with the musical songs. The first one, come on, the first one that opens with Timothée Chalamet singing A Hat Full of Dreams, and it's just like this idea of Willy Wonka. You're going into this ride with him, and it was just pure magic. Honestly, yeah, it was just nostalgic of a way of like watching musicals over again, because it reminded me of the elements of like singing in the rain, of like chasing dreams, but also when dreams don't go exactly the same way you wanted to go, but also it just had so much heart and so much warmth. It's heartwarming, for this time of year, and I really recommend everyone just watch this at this time of year. It's literally like a Christmas movie, but it's not at the same time. You could argue about like Die Hard is a Christmas film. It is, but with Wonka, it's exactly like a Christmas film. I don't know how to explain it. It's just, it has that vibe. It's snowy. It's winter. I just felt so interested into this world, with Roald Dahl, what he created for Willy Wonka, what Paul King has directed. And what I found also interesting was, with different directors, with Tim Burton, and then you see Paul King's, you get to see the whimsical sides of those stories as well and how they handle it. But with Wonka, it's pure magic.
Yeah, Paul King just nails, I mean, you get this in Paddington as well, but he just nails that kind of Christmassy vibes. And, I've always said, and nobody ever agrees with me, but I don't care. Paddington is a Christmas movie,
It
and it's a
is.
fantastic one. I would even
It
say that
is.
it is the best Christmas movie. I think a Christmas film goes beyond just the elements of the season. It's about
Yes.
how it makes you feel, and it's about these ideas about togetherness and love and family. But also, one of the things that I think is interesting is every year, apart from 2020, we get a big film around this time of the year. As far
Yes,
back as you
we
can
do.
remember, last year it was Avatar, the year before that it
Oh,
was Spider-Man, 2019 it was Rise of Skywalker, 2018 it was Aquaman. We usually have these big films that everybody goes to see. They'll be grossing $1 billion at the worldwide box office. These are huge moments, and that will continue. But this year, it's kind of unknown what that film is going to be. Is it going to be Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom? Probably not. I think Wonka is the film that is going to do really well. And I hope it does, because it's the perfect film for families. It's the perfect
yes.
film for people to go and see and have a great time with. And I think this, like a lot of musicals, will have legs. I think people will hear the good word of mouth and they'll go to see it because it really deserves to be seen. It really is fantastic. And I don't think the marketing of Wonka did it justice, because this
Yes.
film didn't look good. The trailers weren't good. They weren't
Um.
funny. Timothée Chalamet does not seem like the right guy to be playing a young Willy Wonka
Oh my
based
God.
off the trailers. In the trailers,
Yes.
it just doesn't look right. But in the film, he actually is incredible.
He's this chaotic guy in this film, but in the trailers, what he's trying to show Timothy as Wonka, he didn't have it. It was just so bizarre. It was like, oh God, what is this going to be? And I remember everyone was talking about it like, what is Timothy Chalamet doing? I don't understand. Why is he not putting so much energy into it? And he does. He delivers. He absolutely delivers in this film as this chaotic guy with wild dreams of opening up this amazing chocolate shop and factory at the end of the film. And one of my favorite things is also in the opening, but he's a massive daydreamer. And what I love about musicals is that they really capture the dreamy side of what it's like to have a completely different life. I mean, with La La Land, it had like this dreamscape as well. With Singing in the Rain, it's like a completely different world. And I think the opening does that really well with Wonka, daydreaming about like opening this chocolate shop. And he imagines that people are dancing around with him. And one of the signs that says, no daydreaming here. And I thought that's a good touch. With the film's subjects involve like, with dreamers and big corporate business about like they don't care about the people. Willy Wonka, he really cares about the people around him, and it's just a really touching film to go through and experience that warmth and joy of chasing dreams.
Yeah, I think it's really beautiful how the film has the villainous characters who very much try to control people and stamp out any kind of imagination and any kind of dreaming, as you say, and yet that drifts into people's life through Willy Wonka. There's a really great song called A World of Your Own, which is the song where he opens his first shop. And we start with this darkness in the shop, and then as the lights come on, we see this beautiful, very similar to what we will then get in the factory itself, with the chocolate trees and the chocolate flowers and the edible clouds and the river. And he's singing this whole thing and how it can be a world of your own, and this is for the kid that you left behind. It all really works with that, and I think Chalamet, he can sing, he can dance, he's got whimsy, and he has a magical glint in his eye. But also, and I wasn't really prepared for this, but he brings a vulnerability to the role of Willy Wonka. He doesn't feel
Yeah.
like any other. We got a little bit of vulnerability with Johnny Depp's version. Absolutely. I
Oh,
will
we did.
defend
Yeah,
that. I
yeah.
think that a lot of people disliked that, but I really like what he brought to it. But I was on the verge of tears
I was
when
crying. I was
yeah,
crying
right, there you go.
waterfalls.
When Wonka gets out the chocolate bar from his mum
No,
and
stop. Oh,
and
no.
he
It's
reads
so
it,
emotional.
and I
Uh,
mean Sally Field, not Sally Fields, Sally Hawkins. She is wonderful, and she,
oh,
with minimal screen time, like she's not really in this film very much, but she just does so much with that. And when he reads that note from her saying it's not the chocolate that's special, it's the people you share it with, and he sees her in the crowd, and
oh.
as she promised she's there for him, she blows him a kiss, and it's just
Uh,
the most beautiful. I was hitting the feels, man. I was
I,
just so
I,
on the verge of
I
just emotional destruction.
Oh, it was so well crafted throughout the film. It just drops there and there, with the flashback of, why Wonka wants to be a chocolatier because of his mum, and she made chocolate for Wonka. And literally a chocolate bar, and that final that message, that is the most powerful storytelling I've seen from this film. It hits you so hard, that idea of like it's about the people you share it with, and that is a strong message throughout the film, with Wonka getting friends and helping him open up this chocolate shop. People were trying to chase their dreams as well. I was like fully tearing up, but I just cried. I was like, this is I was just like amazed about how this is just so structured so well.
Yeah, there's one character played by calahlane called Noodle, and she is like Wonka's main friend throughout this. And there's a song called For a Moment, which is, again, all the songs written by Neil Hannon. They are just wonderful. They capture the essence of the original songs so well, and they're really
Mm.
catchy, and they make you feel so much. And this one song, For a Moment, where she sings about how Willy Wonka makes her feel like she has something to smile about, like she's not sad, like she's not an orphan stuck in a workhouse, like she actually has something good in her life. And that's what Wonka should be. He's dancing with her on this rooftop, and they've got these balloons and they're floating off into the air, and it's so magical. And the film could have very easily cast an older actress in this role and made it a love interest, but they didn't, because they understand that the thing that is important is that this is a child's fantasy. This man with all these chocolates who's making your life better in these small ways. That is kind of what it is all about, and it really, really works well, I thought, that kind of angle of the film. And there's a really good bit where like he's finding things to rhyme with noodle, and it just all really works in ways that
Mm.
aren't necessarily expected. Like this film is co-written by Paul King and Simon Farnaby, who did Paddington 2, and obviously Paul King also for Paddington 1 as well. Like all these films really understand a certain sincerity and a simplicity that actually makes it really kind of soar.
Yeah, and what Noodle has been through, not realizing that she had a strong family, but her wish for a dream is also really emotional. Like, all she wants is a house full full of books and, to be with the mother. And not gonna lie, that hit me hard. I was like, damn, I don't know how they've done it so well with building up characters. They just built it so three-dimensional all the way through. You could really understand with the characters so well.
Yeah, I think the good characters are really, really well defined. And even there are some small characters, like there are a lot of
Oh yeah.
cameos from British comedians. There's one bit where Phil Wang is playing this kind of like down on his luck guy who wants to win this girl, and Wonka gives him this giraffe milk macaroon and he starts dancing with him. And that's just so funny as somebody who knows British comedy. And the woman that he wants to woo is played by Charlotte Ritchie. There's some really good stuff with that. And Olivia
Yeah.
Colman as
Olivia Colman. Oh my God.
as like the evil workhouse leader who traps people in these contracts. Brilliant. Just so brilliant.
Brilliant.
And even Simon Farnaby plays a zoo security guard who
Oh my
like,
goodness.
gets really drunk and ends up like calling somebody you sit next to in science class with. And then we get somebody else who is that person. And there's this little love story going on. All that is brilliant. However,
brilliant.
I do have to say that not all the cast worked for me. There was a couple of sticking points. First of all, I really like the idea of the chocolate cartel and like the villains. I thought Paterson Joseph was a scene stealer and Keegan-Michael Key was also great, as was Matthew Bainton also. Matt Lucas, though, I didn't think that he fits. I thought he was the bit that wasn't funny, and that kind of drags down the chocolate cartel bit a little bit. As a performer, I don't really like a lot of Matt Lucas's comedy anyway, but I just didn't think that he worked and kind of did ruin some of that. But bigger than that, my big problem with this film, and I hate that I have to say this, I'm really sorry, but Hugh Grant as the Oompa Loompa, I just didn't like it. I have to say.
Okay, I don't agree or disagree with you with that because I know exactly what you're talking about, Tom. I know exactly what you're talking about because everybody I know they're going to be in the comments like, no, Hugh Grant was so funny in this film. What you're talking about? I gotta say, with the Oompa Loompa, it didn't really add anything to the film. I just felt that was literally Deus Ex Machina, for the end of the film. And it didn't really establish the relationship between each other, the friendship. And with Hugh Grant, no, it did not work. It just didn't really have that energy of the Oompa Loompas. Like, for example, if you look back at the original or the Tim Burton's version of the Oompa Loompas, they have like this, I don't know what it is. It's like this creepy aesthetic to them, like they are trying to tell like tragic stories of what happened. But with Hugh Grant, I just felt like it just took away the drama side to Wonka. I just felt like it was very jarring. They could have added something interesting for the Oompa Loompa.
It didn't really mesh with any of the themes. It didn't really have a whole lot of plot significance.
Or dreams, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, the significance they did give it, it felt like you could easily write a different explanation for that. Hugh Grant as the Oompa Loompa, they put him in a mocap suit, something which Hugh Grant, the actor, actually didn't enjoy a lot. And you see him in interviews.
He hated it.
He wanted to die the whole time.
I feel really bad for him.
It does feel like he's phoning it in quite a bit as well in the role. You can kind of tell that he's not really having a great time. The CGI effects just looks weird. I'm sure there will be so many better ways to do this, but it just didn't work. And it just felt like they had to tick every aspect of Willy Wonka. They're like, oh, we got the chocolate, we got the Wonka, we got the hat, we got the cane, we got the songs. We need the Oompa Loompa. Like, I don't think that the story needed an Oompa Loompa. If anything, that's a sequel. I don't want a sequel to this film, but you could easily make one with the Oompa Loompas. But I just think that was just a whole ridiculous thing to shoehorn in, and it didn't really work. And that's my one sticking point. I thought that the film was really great and really emotionally powerful, but the effects didn't work, and the comedy didn't work, and the performance didn't work. And so just really, I didn't think there was any point to it.
Yeah, it just felt very pointless. Like, to the comedy sides of the film, there was some really funny ones, especially with Tom Davis and Olivia Colman's performances as the couple. They were so brilliant. Like, they were trying to be really happy about each other. And with Tom Davis' character as this like really mean guy, he had this like really grumpy performance. He was just so funny. He had great moments as well. Like, he had like shorts, but no, they were like
Yeah, was it like a lederhosen?
Yes,
Is
yeah,
that
like
right?
that. And he was
Yeah.
wearing that. The whole cinema was laughing. I was like dying laughing. It was just brilliant how they pieced all together with the comedy, especially with the security guard, and they linked that so well, and it didn't have like force into the characters.
Is just one role out of a load of, because you've also got Rowan Atkinson playing this chocoholic
Oh
priest.
my God.
You've got Keegan-Michael Key as this also chocoholic police chief, and then there's another policeman who's played by
Oh,
Cobner Holbrook Smith, who actually kind of like enjoys what's going on. And there's a moment in You've Never Had Chocolate Like This, the song, where Keegan-Michael Key passes it to him and it's like, have you ever had chocolate like this? And he just breaks into song. Is like, I've never had chocolate like this. Like, I really love just all of the different characters. It's such a well realized world. You've got Rich Fulcher as this failed comedian constantly making hilariously bad jokes. You've got Natasha Rothwell as this plumber who knows all the ins and outs of everything, and Raki Thakrar, who plays this gossipy phone
telephonist.
technician,
Yeah.
and Jim Carter, who was a accountant who just got roped into this workhouse. Every little part is just so fun and enjoyable to watch.
Yes.
And you just gotta love it all.
Oh,
It's so effortlessly charming. And I will say it took me a moment to get into the world of the film, but as soon as you're
yes.
in there, it grabs you and doesn't let you go. Like, truly, I think this is something that people need to watch.
Yes. Overall, this was just a film with so much chemistry, like with positive vibes, and it's something to watch for Christmas. The whole cast is stacked. I love this movie.
Me too. What a treat. I'm glad that we did this instead of Rebel Moon. Like, I haven't seen Rebel Moon
Oh,
yet, but
yes.
apparently it's not that great. So actually, I'm really happy that we've decided to do a film that is going to make
Yes.
everyone happy.
Also, apparently the director's cut. I don't know why there was a director's cut for Rebel Moon. I guess we're gonna continue with the whole idea of Zack Snyder's Justice League as well. But
Yeah.
apparently the director's cut has a lot more things in context and more scenes that tells a lot more about this world of Rebel Moon. So I think we're gonna wait for the director's cut for that, because from what I've heard, it doesn't sound amazing. But we'll just wait for the director's cut.
Yeah, it's just pointless to do this whole thing if you're not watching the full film. The whole reason why we made this podcast was because we were just so hyped for the Snyder Cut. And we eventually
Yes.
did the Snyder Cut, and it was really cool. And we're both Zack Snyder fans, and we both really care about seeing the vision and not seeing whatever watered down version. Like, I still maintain that the Batman v Superman and Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition, they're very different films, theatrical and Ultimate Edition. This is a stupid thing for them to do, but at the same time, whatever. We'll cover them one day. But yes, what are you going to give Wonka out of 10?
I'm gonna give this an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for listening. If you're listening on YouTube and you enjoyed it, you can give us a like and subscribe if you want to see more. And if you're listening on Spotify, you can follow and give us a 5-star review if you think we're worthy. And next week, we are going to be doing Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, which is the
Yes.
final hurrah for the DCEU, which is
Yes.
kind of depressing, but there you go.
Very depressing. It's been a long road.
10 years. And you can send us an email at ourtimefilmpod@gmail.com. Let us know your
Yes.
thoughts on Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Ask us any questions. We'll answer it right here on the podcast next week.
Yes, and you can follow us on Instagram at Out of Time Film Pod to see our incredible thumbnails from Zain Afzal, on Twitter for more thoughts from Tom, and TikTok to see edited clips, which are all also on Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts. You can find the links to that all in the description below. Thanks to Jones-Meyer for the excellent theme and Ronan Phillips for vocals as always. And I think that's everything.
That is everything. Happy holidays, everyone. Anyone celebrating Christmas, the big day is tomorrow. So I hope you have a great time, and everyone, just I hope you have
a brilliant time, everyone.
And if you don't celebrate, I just hope that you have a great end of the year, because also, it's not the last time you'll see us in 2023. But yes, do have a great holiday and a fantastic new year.
Yes, have a fantastic break, everyone. Take what you're given.
Give nothing back.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. I'm going to go listen to the Wonka soundtrack. Goodbye.
I'm just going to chill and think about why did I see Hugh Grant as Oompa Loompa. I'm just going to cry in a corner now. See ya.
Bye.